And we are good to go. Thank you for your patience. Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you.
State all of your names. Make sure we have them for the record, and I'm pleased with your statement.
My name is Isaac Contreras,
Melissa Rotterdam.
Jean-Pierre Palais.
and I do have a short statement to read. And so I'll just kick it off. Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Isaac Contreras. Today, I would like to introduce myself as the Twin Cities Chapter Past President and current Director of Governmental Affairs Committee of NAREP Twin Cities, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. We're a national trade organization based out of San Diego, made up of over 40,000 real estate practitioners in 100 chapters across the United States. As I mentioned, we have a chapter here in the Twin Cities, and this year I'm the Director of Governmental Affairs. Along with me, we have Melissa Rotterdam, as well as Jean-Pierre Palais, who also serve on the Board of Directors. We, NAREP Twin Cities, are the voice of Hispanic real estate and proud champions of home ownership for the Hispanic community in and around the Twin Cities. We are here today to simply introduce ourselves and offer ourselves as a resource for answers and guidance as local policies are discussed and decided on, whether it's for zoning changes that you are considering, new housing policies, or adjustments to the city's master plan. With that said, I would like to dispel a couple of misconceptions that most folks have. First, in that you must speak Spanish, and secondly, that you must be Latino in order to be a member or leader in the chapter, neither of which is necessary. We look for members and partners who are interested in our mission. And our mission is to advance sustainable Hispanic home ownership. A few data points that I'd like to share as I wrap up. A recent study from the Urban Institute predicts that for the next 20 years, 70% of all new home ownership will come from the Latino cohort. Kind of a big number, kind of a big deal. And we do that, and we're able to do that as a result of being an economic force. The U.S. Latino GDP has grown to $2.8 trillion in 2020, which, to give it some perspective, would rank us as the 5th largest country in the world if the U.S. Latino was a country. That's larger than South Korea, larger than Australia, Russia, France, on par with the United Kingdom. Every year nationally, we, NAREP, produce a report called the State of Hispanic Home Ownership. This is where we track how we are performing as a cohort. And we discovered that Minnesota saw one of the fastest Hispanic home ownership growth rates in the region, up 62.3% since 2010. And finally, according to the census, the Latino population in Bloomington has grown and is in the top 25 cities in the state of Minnesota in regards to cities with the largest Latino population. Let us know how we can help. You have a partner here with us. Thank you, and would open it up to any questions.
Thank you. Thanks so very much for coming and introducing yourself.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, and appreciate the opportunity to learn more about the organization and the mission. Council questions, specific questions, or Councilmember Carter?
Yeah, well, thank you for coming today. So we have a housing and redevelopment authority, like many cities, and we actually just redid our website with a bunch of different resources and supports for community members who are looking for a variety of things related to homeownership or rental, you name it. And I'm just wondering then, what kind of resources and support do you provide people specifically? And then I just kind of wonder if we could put it up on our HRA website as a resource for some in our community.
Oh, and that's a great question. And what we want to point out is that we're a business organization, much like you see SPAR and NAR, Minneapolis Area Realtors Association, Minnesota Realtors Association, the National Association of Realtors, right? And I bring that up because we are the real estate practitioners. So the loan officers, the agents, the insurance agents. And so we work at that agent level, that business organization level. And then through the education and empowering of the practitioners, then that gets spread out to the end user, the homeowner.
Got it, got it.
So when you're looking at some of those commissions, like a housing policy commission, things like that, then we can provide insight as to what would be some of the policies to take into consideration when you're taking into consideration the Latino population in the city, especially as you're making adjustments to the city's master plan moving forward.
Councilmember D'Alessandro?
Thanks for being here. Nice to meet all of you. If you were going to describe I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of growth, so maybe there aren't barriers as you see them, but if you were going to describe barriers to homeownership for the population you support, how would you describe that and what would you be focusing on or asking us to focus on?
Yeah.
When it comes to, moving those things in the right direction to enable more homeownership?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So nationally, we have 3 initiatives because one of the things that we recognize over the last 20 some years is that economics is what drives policy, right? And so when we're talking about policy, as a matter of fact, there's a number of us going to DC next week for the homeownership conference that's put on by NAREP. And there's 3 areas of focus that we have. One of them is housing inventory. The second one is immigration reform. And then the third one is access to credit. And so access to credit and immigration reform, those are very much national initiatives, right? And so we have conversations with our representatives at the federal level, our senators, as well as our Congress people. Locally, access to housing or housing inventory is where a lot of things can be put into play at the zoning changes, moving them from R1 to R2 areas that have that ability and have that capacity to fill a need. Being able to also statewide, for example, there's an initiative going through with ITIN numbers. Now, if you're familiar with ITIN, it's the individual tax identification number. Currently in the state of Minnesota, if you get a loan, if you get a mortgage and you buy a home and you have an ITIN number, you don't receive homestead credit. And so that's one of the initiatives there as well. And so leveling the playing field and your support and being able to talk to those that do make those decisions help out quite a bit.
Great.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Councilmember Nelson?
I don't have a question. I would just love to have coffee sometime. I spent most of the day today at the state legislature talking about home ownership.
Yeah.
And so would love to connect with you guys and see what I can do to help.
Absolutely.
So,
Oh, we appreciate that. Last couple weeks ago, there was a day Minnesota Realtors arranged for Realtors Day at the Capitol. And some of the pieces of information that came out that were extremely powerful was the disparity in how much more expensive it is to build a house in Minnesota than it is in Illinois, Wisconsin, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Iowa. It ranges from $100,000 to $130,000 more expensive in the state of Minnesota. It's not weather, as it was put. It's not necessarily logistics, but it's the cost. And so we all have a place to play in that. So that's where that housing inventory comes into play.
Well, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Time.
Appreciate it. It's been here.
Sally?
Hello. A couple of questions.
Yes.
At the hearing to add retail and medical office, the mayor asked planning, based on past experience, based on lessons learned, based on what we've heard from other cities in similar situations. I do not recall any information concerning past experiences or cities in similar situations. So question, what past experiences or what other city added retail and medical offices to colleges and or universities in R1? Or what other past experiences or what other city changed the city code to achieve spot zoning without spot zoning? Again, I'm not saying the city spot zoned. I'm saying that they what they chose to do by changing the city code achieved a spot zoning. And also at the last listening session, a council member comments, Mayor, when we discussed this as a change to R1 zoning, not to a specific change to that parcel. And that, from my recollection, is what we did there. We did not look at it just specific to that property, right? The city mentioned there are 2 other colleges, but the staff report and supporting data is specific to Northwestern. A council member did question whether the retail change would reduce the retail square footage for Normandale, but again, specifics such as the total square footage for medical, traffic, parking of the other colleges were not provided. Additionally, I do not recall any data or discussion concerning any future college or university. Other than the retail square footage for Normandale, what is in the staff report and data indicating the city looked at the other 2 colleges or considered any future college or university? So those are 2 questions.
All right. And I don't have those off the top of my head. We'll have to respond to those and staff to pull that information together for you.
Well, the first one, I can see, you asked that question and it wouldn't be possibly readily available. But the second one, again, the city didn't spot zone, but to have a council member say that other properties were considered. So everyone read the staff report, and right now, I mean, everyone voted, and they voted on the data that was in the package. And so right now, I mean, you just voted. So anyone have a recall of the package and any information of, like, did anyone recall in the package that they talked about Normandale and what would happen if the square footage for medical office in Normandale and the traffic it would provide, or any notations that they talked to Normandale or talked to the neighbors in Normandale?
If I recall it, Sally, I think we asked those questions at the meeting and it was responded, and I can't remember, it was a few weeks ago now, so I don't recall exactly. But somebody made the equations, what it would mean for an expansion at Normandale and what the expansions would mean if, I don't even know what the other example.
I think Councilmember Nelson brought up Ace Hardware as an example. Could you put an Ace Hardware in Normandale?
Mhm. Yeah, so it was discussed.
Yeah, brought up the retail part, and I mentioned that when I just made that comment. Someone asked to make sure that Normandale wouldn't be negatively impacted. That was the framing of it. And then, yes, they said about the Ace Hardware and stuff, but again, you're talking about a staff report. And did the city, I mean, so the staff member standing there and you had a staff report and it had nothing about the other 2 properties.
You saw the staff report, so you're asking a question that you know the answer to, once again. So, and you also were at
Did you guys get information?
watch the meeting.
Yeah.
And so we did discuss it. And based on the information that we had, the discussion that we had, the vote, I believe, was 7-0.
Right, the vote was 7-0, but again, previous question, was there a DRC meeting? Which is where you would come up with this information, where it would be compiled and you as a council would be able to read it. Was there a DRC meeting?
I don't know if there was one in that case. I think we were going to look into that. I'm not sure if there was a DRC meeting for that.
And that's where you'd get staff looking into it. You wouldn't have somebody standing there and a conversation about it. You would have the actual data. So were the other properties really looked into? Because you would have some data that you guys would read before you went to the meeting. And instead of having a staff member, but again, you guys didn't, at that meeting, they didn't get into the specifics of how much square footage would that be over there. And, we already know Normandale has an issue with the parking situation and the traffic.
There's no parking issue at Normandale.
And the reason that they had the parking ramp and the neighbors.
And with the parking ramp, there is no parking issue at Normandale.
And again, the neighbors had an issue with the parking ramp. That wasn't something they wanted in that particular area with the houses, the houses.
On College View Road, that one, those houses, they view the college, Sally. And the parking ramp was done very well. And frankly, if you drive past it, it's not an issue. We have not heard from them. We're hearing from you now, again, about something that is not in your purview. And so we will answer those questions that you brought forward. And we'll
I-
find information.
I recall the parking and the parking ramp
15 years ago, Sally.
and,
Remember that as well.
right, yeah, and it wasn't well received by the community. You know, going, not only just adding the ramp, but adding the more traffic on that corner, you know, so again, more changes and here so yeah, you'll get back to me. You'll see if there's any data, if staff has any specific data, contacting Normandale, seeing what they're,
And to let you know, if the answer is, we had the discussion at the council meeting and we asked the questions, brought up a couple examples, got the answers from staff and voted based on that. If the answer is we don't have a ream of data describing what you're describing, that still doesn't invalidate the decision that the council made it with a 7-0 vote.
it doesn't need to be a REMA data, but it needs to be accurate. You know, when staff says something, you know, when you're asking a question, is their past experiences, has there been lessons learned? Have we heard from other cities? Have we heard from other cities?
I'm just wanting to be clear, Mr. Mayor, on what you're asking staff to do. As you've said, this is a decided issue, and I'm not clear if you are directing us to do more work or not, because the gathering of data could be a fair amount of staff.
I don't want you to gather the data. I want you to answer the questions that Sally answered. You know, what was that gathering done? Had it been done in the past? Was it available? And again, if the answer is no,
Yeah.
it doesn't invalidate the decision the council made.
And it goes back to me coming here week after week, asking for accuracy, you know, like to have staff say,
Inaccurate about the decision, Sally. We have a difference of opinion perhaps, but there is nothing inaccurate about the decision.
Question
Councilmember D'Alessandro?
for you, Mr. Mayor. What generally triggers that board review?
The
DRC?
Development Review Committee.
Yeah.
It tends to be new development, so that's what we're checking. I'm not sure that this one would have.
It might not even,
DRC.
it might have been risen to it.
Right.
That's what I was curious about. Thank you.
I've already sent the email to confirm, but
I don't think there was a DRC meeting, but I didn't want to say so until we have.
So, and we will check with staff to see if the questions you asked, if that data was compiled or not. And again, if not, it doesn't invalidate the decision of the council.
and again, I'm not looking to invalidate the decision of the council. I'm, again, purposely coming in here week after week about the inaccurate information provided. You know, if it didn't matter, staff should have said, you know, we don't have past experiences on this. This is all new. You know, I don't think he even answered it. I don't think this was even answered. It was properly asked, but I don't think it was answered. And then about the others, you know, you didn't spot zone. Clearly you didn't spot zone, but you achieved it. That's my point. Are we going in that direction where we're allowing that? So to say, well, we did look at the others, I don't think you really did. And I could be wrong. I don't see the data. So come out and say, we didn't look at the others. You know, we didn't spot zone. We made the decision. Okay. But it's like, let's get this accurate, you know, going back 12 years. I mean, that is the point I keep coming here is it's difficult to hear. How can we make decisions when we don't have accurate information? Then when this goes forward and it goes forward with inaccurate information, we didn't DRC because of this. Okay, give me the right answer. We didn't have.
So if we
lessons-
didn't do DRC because of this, is that the right answer? Or are you going to come back and say, now we have inaccurate information? You got to, you bring this around a number of different ways and you've been doing this for a long time now, Sally, and we're
I would question.
for this.
I would question why we didn't have DRC because you're changing residential.
Not a new development,
I get them.
change in zoning. That's why we didn't do it.
And in that, I can tell that this council, I get the opinion, if I could be wrong, I'm not asking individual council members, that there isn't such a big issue, but you're changing residential property.
All right, we're at 10 minutes, Sally.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you much. Our friends from Norman Ridge. The group is growing back there. And we will make a point of having a quick conversation, all right? All right,
Yes, Sandy, you want to come join?
They know who I am.
Saving us for last. Well, I guess first thing I just want to,
again, state your names, just have it officially on the record.
Dan Curry, 105 Norman Ridge Drive.
Sandy Hemley, 50 Norman Ridge.
So I guess first thing is, just think Glenn, Nick, great people. Appreciate the, the engagement from them and kind and courteous to us. So I guess unfortunately we're here again and you have to listen to us. But quick update for you. So far we've spent an incredible amount of time. I don't know, Sandy's got hundreds of hours into this. I just kind of show up sometimes. So the neighborhood's still committed to, I guess, kind of seeing a holistic approach taken to the R1 zoning ordinance update. Our ideas have received some support, but we've seen basically little result out of that so far. The support's kind of been sporadic with certain folks supporting one concept, other folks supporting another concept. So we just are like, I don't know what to do.
Just to clarify, when you say folks, do you mean neighbors in your neighborhood or?
No, folks up the city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. So, yeah, so city council has, shown some support for certain things and staff have shown support for other things. I think, I guess we're a little, whatever. Our ideas, I think, have just kind of been dismissed quickly without much feedback. I know you've been supportive of going, looking into RS1 for the neighborhood. The neighborhood doesn't meet 50% compliance there. So we spoke with staff about, trying to say, what is it? Maybe revisit RS1 as a smaller, have it go through the same pro rata reduction in lot size that R1 is going through, which would result in about a 23,000 square foot lot and bring our neighborhood up to, I think, about 65% plus compliance. So that was one concept. And I know how RS1 sits with the council, but one option. Another option that we presented was retaining the median lot width. So that was basically immediately rejected. The comment was, we'll kill 90% of development sites. And that was basically like the end of the conversation. So, I don't know. We wonder why not keep the 80% lot width, median lot width requirement, but have a variance of 50%, which would allow the HRA project to go through. So, some additional dialogue there would have been great. And then lastly, creating an overlay district. Understand that's a lot of work, but again, kind of immediately rejected without much consideration for potential solutions. So as an example, you go to page, I don't know, the last couple of pages of this. Minnesota DNR put together, what do they call it? Central Region Green Infrastructure. So they basically looked at all of the natural habitat within the state, said, okay, here are the habitat corridors that connect them. So wildlife can migrate around the state, right? So it says relating to balancing development and natural resource protection. So, in terms of creating overlay districts, this is as down the fairway as it gets. I think the state put together the map. I think, we've talked about just kind of keeping some of the more environmental specific, I don't know, what do you call them? Performance standards consistent. So retain the 35% impervious setback, retain the 35% impervious limitation, retain the setbacks, retain the off-street parking requirements for just the R1 zoning district in this area. So basically nothing would change for the people that live in that neighborhood. It's not like you have to present change to those people. It's just, hey, you're still have these performance standards. So, so that's, I think that's, if you have to push density, like now is an optimal time to create an overlay district to protect natural resources. And you can do it using state level assessments, right? So I think that's a great way to protect Bloomington's natural resources. So those are kind of where we're at in terms of the solutions. And I don't know. I don't think we've gotten anywhere else.
I think we're just so confused, we've rewatched the council meeting and the comments from the council members were great, that additional work needed to be done, that this wasn't, a completed thought process in this ordinance change. And when I've been going to all the meetings and the ones that get canceled or, watch them just to try and get FaceTime with people. And then to go to the HRC on March 3rd and it's presented that the same ordinance package, which was presented to you guys on January 9th, is what's going to be presented again on March 20th. And I'm kind of like, wow, this is really a weird place for me to have learned about it since I'd had continual conversations, and it was like, why and what are we doing if this is the way things are occurring? And, and I think that some other people have experienced this too, when they've gone to see whether or not there's some environmental, avenues we can, follow. And the response is, well, we'll look at them later. Well, you guys know how fast this stuff goes. You can't look at slopes and trees and in ecological protection for green space after you've already destroyed a bunch of it. So I guess we're just at a loss. And I think
Yeah.
we've tried everything so short of this just being voted down on March 20th. We just don't see a way forward at all.
Yeah.
And I just think, I know that there was comments about, this is going to get messy, and
I mean, we've kept it very clean.
respectful
Yeah.
with everybody. And it's what's coming back is like, oh my God, why are we being so nice? It's just, and part of it's, we don't understand the process. We just found out Friday that, I'm going to get the terminology wrong because I get the terminology wrong all the time, that the public hearing's been closed or public comments has been closed. So when this comes back to the meeting on the 20th, you aren't looking for any more input from anybody. So,
Council members, we actually have posted
I
for a
think-
public hearing.
I
on the
thought we did,
20th.
yeah.
We've noticed.
oh, you have? Okay,
Oh.
so that's not what I was told on Friday. So that must have just changed.
No,
No, last week we sent the notice to the newspaper.
sent the notice to the newspaper on Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning.
Oh, because that's not what I got from your office then.
Okay.
From last week.
From who?
That might have been me, that I just didn't have that information.
Yeah,
I-
exactly.
I wasn't sure
Exactly.
whether
Right.
it was going to be any
Yeah.
public.
But technically speaking, the public hearing was closed.
Yeah.
It
We
was.
decided to renotice it and create another public hearing.
Okay. So does that mean we reactivate do we go and pull in hundreds of people to the meeting? Is that what we're looking? Is that what I'm confused on what the purpose of the public hearing is.
Purpose of the public, sorry, Mary.
No, please.
The purpose of the public hearing is that prior to the city adopting an ordinance, law requires that there be a public hearing. That's what occurred a couple of months ago. And we decided, or I recommended that we hold another public hearing this time, given the passage of time. And that I suggested, or I suspected that there would be a strong desire from the community to have public comment. And given the passage of time and the likely desire for public comment, I recommended that we re-advertise a public hearing. That's why we're having a public hearing.
Okay,
Yeah, there will be more opportunities for you and for the neighborhood to provide input.
So,
so that's what you're suggesting that we do?
Yeah, I never,
That's not,
that's what the opportunity is. The opportunity is there in a public hearing to do just that.
yeah.
okay, so
So we've got a lot more. I mean, this is just put together over the weekend. So we've got a lot more thoughts on, the ineffectiveness of the ordinance, the 100 to 200 units over 10 to 20 years. And on, the downsides to it. So we'll compile.
Councilmember Carter, a quick point here and then we got to move on.
I guess I was just curious if have we taken into consideration like habitat corridors in our zoning areas?
And I don't know.
Mr. Mayor and council members, I know that one council member did meet with our staff to ask those questions. So we are looking at that and we'll have more information when the package comes out.
And I guess I would just say, we'll have the conversation, but I do think with our kind of revived priority around natural resources, that it is something that we should be seriously having conversations about. And not just for one neighborhood, but, you know, if there's a whole habitat corridor that we care about and we're asking for local option sales tax for 9 Mile and like, it all kind of fits together, right, as part of the puzzle. And so I would hope that I'm glad that there will be more information on that.
All right, we are at 10 minutes, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ian.
Appreciate it.
Council, I'm going to beg your indulgence one more time this week. We're just going to go a minute or two over. If we can have a quick discussion regarding the Veterans Memorial.
I just came to watch.
Never just come to watch. Always want to speak. I know you. But very quickly, we do need to get downstairs, but you're here and I know there's some concerns, wanted to give you just a.
Yep, we certainly have some concerns after your meeting last
We
week.
need your name officially for the record.
Dwayne Brinkman,
Thank you, Dwayne.
and I am the treasurer of the Bloomington Remembers Veterans. But yeah, we were, and it's been a tough week for us, believe me. We've had donors call, we've had different issues that have come up. Now, we don't think there was anything wrong with the commitment that we had from the city council in the past.
And I think the majority of this council would agree with that statement.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that commitment. That commitment is as strong now as it was then,
And
in my mind. I don't know if council, if you disagree with that, but that's exactly what I see.
can we get a recommitment?
I will, as we recap this tonight, I will say those words.
Fantastic.
And if need be, if we need to clarify this again, we will certainly do that. But
We've been getting some comments and so on and so forth.
sure, understood.
And I appreciate what the job you guys have to do, smokes. I know I spent too many years in the audit and compliance world, and I understand.
I think,
Thank you.
I do think we're good. All right,
Should I just say one thing?
please.
It was helpful for me, and I know a few of the other newer council members, to just get an understanding of what happened. But like Mayor said, we are, most of us are supporting this and continue.
Yep.
Was that email helpful?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
And to clarify some of the statements last week, I mean, I have never heard a staff member question this commitment.
Thank you.
And whether or not this would work.
No.
I know there's been a couple of residents' questions. There's been questions from, just for clarification from the newer council members. Unlike what was said last week, I have never had a staff member come to me and question this. So I don't know if others have, but I never have.
Oh, I agree with that. And since I made some comments, I'll just be very clear with you. I think it is important for Bloomington Remembers Veterans, and I will help with this, and I'll come tomorrow and help with this, to make sure people know too, that you're okay if these other activities are happening around that memorial and you want to see that. And if kids are playing monkey bars on your
Absolutely.
memorial, you're fine with that. And I mean, the reason I say that is because my dad's buried at Arlington. It would be completely inappropriate for monkey bars at Arlington, right? And so some people have a vision of a memorial as a very solemn, respectful place.
Gotcha.
And other people have it as a place for celebration and things like that. We need to understand from your perspective how comfortable you are with like
Yep.
a party going on next door and other things like that, so we can better serve the whole population.
Absolutely.
So helping us understand how that will work will also be helpful, and we'll spend some time on that tomorrow, at the meeting.
Brandon, I don't want to cut you off. We got to get down.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
Thanks.
Thank you, really.
Council, I look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
In a second, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all very much for being here today. Appreciate it.